From New York and New Jersey down to where I am in Virginia, down to Florida, out to Chicago, out to California, and all points in between. Welcome. This is your New York Jets game preview video. And we're going to talk today about tonight's Thursday night game. The New York Jets, who are fighting for their playoff lives, host a team in a very similar and yet kind of a different situation, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So this is going to be from Wet Life Stadium on Amazon Prime. The Jets, as we pretty much need to know, it's essentially a win-or-go-home proposition over these next three games. If the Jets win these next three, they have an excellent chance of making the playoffs. Lose one, and the playoffs are, we won't say nil, but they are very close to that level. The Jaguars, on the other hand, are on a hot streak. They are now 6-8, only one game behind the Tennessee Titans in the AFC South, and they basically control their own destiny. They win out, they're in the playoffs. So both these teams will be coming with a lot to prove in this game. So let's talk about this matchup. First, let's talk about when the Jaguars have the ball and the Jets are on defense. So the Jaguars come into this game averaging 368 yards of offense per game. That's sixth in the league. 23.9 points per game. That is 12th in the league only. As for quarterback Trevor Lawrence, well, he's completing 66% of his passes, seemingly getting better by the week. 24 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, sacked only 24 times in 14 games. He likes to really go play action. This Jaguars offense runs a lot of play action. As a matter of fact, Trevor Lawrence is completing 74% of those play action attempts. And I think this might work well for the Jets defense, playing against play action, because they don't blitz a lot. Okay, their back seven typically is playing back in coverage, and the front four, they still are going to have the same job: get to the quarterback at all costs, whether it's a play action or a shotgun or a straight three-step drop back, 7-step drop back, whatever it might be. Okay, so as far as the targets that Trevor Lawrence likes to go to, there's nobody who's going to scare you, but they have some effective players here. Christian Kirk, free agent pickup, number 13, has 166 catches, 966 yards. He has a good chance of getting to 1,000 tonight. 7 touchdowns, but he has 16 receptions over 20 yards. He is their big play receiver. And then you have Zay Jones, number 7. 74 catches on 106 targets, 5 touchdowns. Evan Ingram is their main tight end, number 17, the former New York Giant. 61 catches on 84 targets, 610 yards. So maybe nobody who's going to scare you. And with the Jets' outside corners, I trust their ability to limit Kirk and Jones, if not take them out of the game nearly completely. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Jaguars try to go. Now, as far as their running game goes, with travisetienne, very talented second-year running back, although it's really his rookie year since he had to miss last season. He has 182 carries, 917 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, but 3 fumbles. Keep that in mind. And he's caught 27 passes out of the backfield. It would not surprise me to see a few passes go to travisetienne. But what I really want to spend a minute talking about here is the offensive line situation. This is going to be big. The Jaguars will not have Cam Robinson at left tackle, who has been their stalwart there. He is out seemingly for the season. So instead, they're going to insert WalkerLittle at left tackle. Second-year man, usually plays right tackle, and he had been their backup, really. And as far as containing a pass, he is terrible at it. He has had just over a season, and he has allowed 5 pressures. He has about a 16.7% pressure rate. That is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like an average would be 4 to 5%, maybe. About 5%. And he is allowing 3 times that much. And the type of pass rusher he really struggles with is one who has a lot of power. So who am I looking at here? Number 58, Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson, to me, has been under a lot of scrutiny from a lot of the media, from Jets fans, from a lot of Jet bloggers, content creators, from some people who know what they're talking about. So this is an opportunity tonight for Carl Lawson to shut a lot of people up. I expect him to have a good game. I expect him to have an impactful game. Not just good, but I want to see him get to Trevor Lawrence a couple of times in this game, even if it's not a sack. Okay, I can live with it not being a sack, but I want him to disrupt plays and make Lawrence do things that he doesn't want to do. The other part of the offensive line, well, we're going to talk about the middle. They got a center named Luke Fortner. Now, Luke Fortner is not doing too well at pass protecting either. He has allowed the second most pressures among centers this year. He has allowed 28 pressures. So what does that bring to mind? Well, it brings to mind somebody who is expected to return to this Jets defensive front tonight. You may have heard of him, number 95, Quinnen Williams. Now, Williams typically would line up over a guard, but I think with the weakness of Fortner, even if it's Sheldon Rankins next to him or whoever, that liability will open up an opportunity for Quinnen Williams to disrupt the game. And as we know, watching the game against Detroit this past Sunday, Quinnen was sorely missed as the Jets were not able to generate hardly any pressure at all on Jared Goff. All right, now let's do what we always do. We're going to flip the script. Let's talk about the Jets offense against the Jaguars defense. Well, this Jacksonville defense is allowing 370 yards per game. That's 27th in the league. 23.4 points per game. That's 21st in the league. They've been a little bit better against the run, though. Their passing yards are not something you want to be shooting for. They're allowing 252 yards per game through the air. That's the fourth worst. So once again, Mr. Zach Wilson will have a defense that is not exactly known for shutting down opposing quarterbacks. He has a pretty good opportunity here. Now, I got to say, though, to me, the Jets have to establish the run game. They absolutely have to do that. What really was upsetting to watch last week is that these running backs didn't have a chance to get any yards. They didn't. The Jets had 9 total yards rushing before contact last week. 9 total yards before a Detroit defender, and the Lions run defense. It's not exactly the Bears 46 defense, okay? 9 yards rushing before a running back was made contact from a Detroit defensive player. That was absolutely inexcusable. Now, I know Detroit was stacking the box, but that's where you have to get a little bit more creative in your formations and possibly your play calling, Mike LaFleur, and generate some space for these running backs, because the running backs we're playing in Bam Knight, Michael Carter, and Ty Johnson, they're not going to move the pile. So that isn't what works. And I'll give you another stat on the Jets and when they run the football. When the Jets eclipse 100 yards rushing, they are 5-1. When they have 100 yards or fewer, they're 1-6. So as this run game goes, the team goes. Okay, so I know we all want to talk about the quarterback, but you got to remember this run defense is what this offense is predicated on. All right, now let's talk about a couple of the Jacksonville players and what they have going on. They are dealing with some very serious ankle injuries. Foley Fatukasi, our old friend, very good defensive tackle for years, will miss this game. That is going to help the run game out for the Jets. Trayvon Walker, the first overall pick from this past year's draft, linebacker, he is out for this game as well. So who are they going to put in there? Well, Foye Oluokun, linebacker, number 23, came over from the Falcons. This was a player I wanted the Jets to sign. And you know what? Maybe if the Jets didn't already have C.J. Mosley, they would have. But he is a tackling machine. He's not going to get sacks or force turnovers, but he has 156 tackles. He has 11 tackles for a loss. He sort of plays that Jonathan Vilma role, if you want to take that step back in time. As far as rushing the passer, well, you've got Dwayne Smoot, number 91, Josh Allen, number 41, not the other Josh Allen, this Josh Allen, 5 sacks each, and then you have Arden Key, formerly of the San Francisco 49ers. Robert Saleh knows him well. Number 49 has 4.5 sacks. Now in the secondary, Tyson Campbell, number 32, from the University of Michigan, very, very good cornerback, was drafted last year, I think with the first pick in the second round, just right before the Jets picked Elijah Moore. So he is very, very good, but they're pretty weak after their top 2. So this is where the depth receivers, you want to see them make an impact. Now, let's talk about that a little bit. Denzel Mims and Jeff Smith are out for this game. So who do you have? Well, you've got Garrett Wilson, and you've got Corey Davis coming back, which will be enormous for Zach. Corey Davis is quite simply Zach's security blanket. But then after that, who are you going to play? You have Braxtonberrios and you have Elijah Moore. Outside of that, that's pretty much it at wide receivers. So I think this is a situation where the Jets might only dress 4 wide receivers, maybe dress an extra running back, maybe dress an extra tight end, and really try to focus on that run game. But I would like to see a few, maybe 4 wide receivers sets. I would like to see more Wilson and Davis on the field at the same time. And let's see what we can do in trips formation with 3 receivers on the field. And another thing I would consider doing is with these very wet, muddy, and windy conditions, let's activate James Robinson, the ex-Jaguars running back. He has not been playing for a little while. I hope that his knee is doing better, but I would like to see him try to run against Jacksonville a little bit. Even if he's the goal line back, a third down back, I think it's a situation where you put him in for a couple of games, and especially if Jacksonville is trying to stack the box against the Jets, well, he is more of a power running back, and he might be able to move the pile a little bit more and get a few extra yards. So that is one strategy that I would consider employing. And a couple of things about the secondary, the safeties that Jacksonville has. You've got Rayshon Jenkins, number 2. He has 3 interceptions on the season, including the walk-off pick 6 in overtime against Dallas this past week. And Andre Cisco, number 5, also has 3 interceptions as well. So those Jacksonville safeties, they are ball hawks. So if Zach throws a wild, inconceivable pass into the middle of the field, watch out for those 2 safeties. All right, let's go with a few other game notes. I alluded to the weather a moment ago. It's supposed to be in the mid-40s, 80% chance of heavy rain. The wind is going to be about 15 to 20 miles per hour. It is currently being reported. Jets will be wearing all black uniforms under those lights of MetLife Stadium. It should look absolutely great. Let's talk about the turnovers. One of the reasons the Jaguars are doing so well is that they have a very opportune defense. They are +4 in turnover margin, whereas the Jets are only -3. Plus, the Jaguars have 10 fumble takeaways this year. Only the Cowboys and Giants have more. And how many times have we lamented the Jets' inability to recover a fumble when the ball is on the ground? Well, they should hope they've watched some of the tape from Jacksonville because they seem to know how to do it correctly. Okay? Now the Jaguars, another thing. They have not played in the rain much this year. The last time they did was Week 4 against Philadelphia. And in that game, Trevor Lawrence turned the football over 5 times. So maybe Trevor Lawrence, inside of a rainy, windy, MetLife Stadium, might be his bugaboo. Who knows? And the other thing I want to mention really quick is Braxtonberrios. Braxtonberrios, to me, has been one of the more disappointing Jets this season. I want to see what he can do tonight. Let me give you a stat with his kickoff returns. Last year, Berrios had 28 kick returns, okay? Of those 28 returns, 16 of them he took past the 25-yard line. The reason why I'm using the 25-yard line is because that's where the touchback goes. So if you return the kick, you want to get it past the 25, right? So a little bit over half. He returned 16 of those kicks past the 25, a little over half. This year, he has had 21 kickoff returns, and of those 21, only 6 have gone past the 25-yard line. Now, part of that is on the special teams and on the blocking, no doubt about it, but we've seen Braxtonberrios misjudge kickoffs, punts. He has just not been the same player for whatever reason this year, and that has to change. That is, when you have an offense that is not exactly running on all cylinders, having special teams that can return the ball a little bit further and create a shorter field, it makes quite the difference. So I wanted to mention that as well. Okay, a few Virginia Jets fans club notes before we get out of here. Tonight we've got a special raffle. Remember, it is a special prize. It will not cost you any extra money. Just show up and you will be eligible to get those 4 very nice Jets coffee mugs. Also, we will have, on the last 2 games of the season, we'll have one more raffle, and we will do one more round of Jets trivia, Jets potpourri. All right, so we will have one more gift card to give away. And I also want to say this. The chili cook-off will happen this year. We don't know exactly when it's going to be. We typically do it the first week of the playoffs. But with the Jets still contending, we want to be able to just set time aside for it. Right now, the tentative plan is if the Jets miss the playoffs, we'll do it wild card weekend. So we'll probably know that pretty soon. But if they make the playoffs, we'll probably do it during maybe the AFC and NFC championship game Sunday. So that is the plan for right now. I want to thank everybody for watching. Virginia Jets fans, I can't wait to see you at AJ Gators tonight. 8:15 start. They've got some great drink specials, wing specials as well. Everybody else, thanks so much for watching. It's the stretch drive. This is something we dreamed about at the end of the season. I know it's been difficult over the last couple of weeks, but the Jets are still alive. Let's be proud, be loud, show out, go Jets.